Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. It's another weekly reading vlog. This is the second week of 2022, and I am so psyched because I am convinced this is gonna be the week I read my first 5-star book. In fact, the only reason why I'm coming and stopping and talking to you all, I'm convinced that out of all of the 4 active books that I'm reading, 2 of them are gonna be 5 stars. I say active because I'm actually reading 8 books at the moment, but only 4 of them are on Goodreads because I went through this thing last week where I was just not in the mood for anything. So I went about sampling a lot of books and trying a bunch of first chapters, and I was like, yeah, these chapters are great. I'm gonna read these books one day, but not right now. First up, we have Age of Assassin. Guys, this one slaps, and I wasn't prepared to fall in love with this book so much. In fact, as soon as we finish talking, I'm gonna sit down and film another video, my best books of 2021. I am going to then make my thumbnails and get this all prepped to be edited, but then I'm gonna sit down and read this for a few hours because I'm so excited to be reading this book. So we follow this young boy. He's 15 years old. His name is Gurton, which is the worst name ever, but who cares? He's orphaned. He is a slave. He was bought as a young child by this assassin queen, and she has been training him his whole life to be the perfect assassin. They get tasked with the actual queen of the realm to come and protect her god-awful son. Her son is right around Gurton's age. I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's awful. He's god-awful. He's the worst character. And so she is concerned that someone in her inner circle is trying to have him assassinated because he's next in line. And so she hires these assassins to try to think in the minds of the assassin and figure out who's trying to kill him and keep him safe. And our main boy Gurton has to kind of pretend to be a squire at palace. So we have my favorite trope, which is poor person pretending to be rich royalty, whatever you want to call them, at court, and he has to try to pretend that he's not as able as he is because he does have a club foot. It is something he is born with, and in this realm they basically have decided that if you are born disabled, that it means that the magic of the realm has chosen you as worse off, so that they're kind of blaming some of the problems of the world on you. It's a little bit complicated, but the story gets more into it, and he is able to fully function and do everything and do a lot of things better than most people, but he has to try to pretend that he isn't as good as he is so that he doesn't draw notice to himself while he's trying to be this squire person training in the guard with this prince. One of the things that I'm really enjoying, and this is so funny because normally I say that it's one of my pet peeves and it'll push me off of a really high fantasy book, our main character's funny. And I think part of it is he's actually funny. A lot of times I just don't find it that humorous, but he's hilarious. There was this whole entire chapter right at the beginning where him and his master get caught and they're in prison, and he's 15, remember, and he has this hood over his head. And the first person that comes into him pulls the hood off, making fun of him, trying to get him to say something. And the guy friggin' responds with well, if I'm such a good assassin, I would have gotten out of my bonds instead of kissing you on the cheek. And then just leans in and kisses this guy on the cheek. It's so funny and it's so enjoyable. I read 60 pages last night right before bed, so I'm planning on making a good chunk through it today, but I'm loving it so far, and I'm so glad that I picked up this book. I do have all 3 of them. It is a finished trilogy, and the author J.R. Barker actually has written a second trilogy that is the Tide Child trilogy, which I own the first book in, and that one just got finished up last year, so I'm hoping to read both of her trilogies this year. Also, people of color everywhere in this book. Women in positions of power everywhere in this book. I can't get over how much I'm loving it. The other book that I'm reading is Iron Widow, and I'm approximately 60% through it right now, and I'm freaking loving it. I was avoiding reading this book mostly because when I hear so much love for a particular book, it kind of makes me hesitant to pick it up, but a friend wanted to read this, so I decided to pick it up and read it, and I started it yesterday, and I might finish it tonight, probably tomorrow, just because I think I'm gonna try to hold off and not marathon it so much because of how much I'm freaking enjoying it. So we're following this girl, oh my goodness, she's also disabled. In this realm, how do I describe this book? In this realm, there are these giant Megatron type creatures that can be controlled by 2 humans inside of them. them a man and a woman, and this realm trains warriors to fight inside of them. The problem is that almost every single time they're used, the woman dies, and women are seen as less and inferior. And so women are like sold off into the army and then killed almost instantly in these creatures, and then the men can ascend to positions of power. Our main girl's older sister was sold off, and our girl decides to basically kind of allow herself to be sold off. She doesn't have much control of her life, to be honest, but she finally like gives in and doesn't fight her parents about being sold off so that they can get some money. She is going to seek vengeance on the boy who killed her sister. And that's all I'm going to say, but I am much farther along in the book than that. Things have happened. She's in the army. She's fighting. There's lots of stuff going on. It's so freaking good. Like, I love how well she's written. She's just so real and so realistic, and this is a fantastic book. I highly recommend you go check this one out. The writing is good. The characters are good. The plot is good. There are so many good quotes, especially if you are like a cis woman and you you feel a lot of times that you're forced into a certain position in the world as a woman. This book is talking about those things. It's most likely going to be a favorites of the year, which is something that a YA book has not done in a long time. It's sci-fi and it's great. It is the end of day Monday. I had a migraine today and then I came home and hung out with friends, so I am now updating you all. So I finished Iron Widow this morning and I loved it. I loved it so much. I had completely forgotten that there was a polyamorous relationship in this book, so when it happened I was like shocked and excited and thrilled, and so glad that the author decided to do the things that she decided to do. I really loved how she developed the characters and the world and the magic. I genuinely had chills while I was reading it. I feel like she's left so many hints for what the next book is going to bring and what's going to be coming from it, and I just think the entire book was so well done. I would reread this book instantly. I probably should reread it instantly. I feel like I didn't catch any single character's names, to be honest, but it was so fantastic. I highly recommend it. And I feel like this is so funny that this is coming the week after I had a little meltdown where I was like, oh, I'm not gonna read YA fantasy anymore because I'm just not connecting to it anymore. And this week I'm like, YA sci-fi, check, 5 stars. I haven't read much more of Age of Assassin. Actually, that's a lie. I've read like 100 pages since I talked to you, but I don't really have anything to say about it now, and I need to do my section of reading for it tonight. You should go read Iron Widow if you haven't read it already, and I'm gonna go read Age of Assassin after I get a shower. It was a crazy day at work today. Welcome to Tuesday. Did I show you guys that I painted my nails? It wasn't the color I thought I was painting them because I'm doing the dip again, and I thought it was gonna be much more of like a fleshy mauve color, and they're like bright pink. I don't hate them, but I don't love them either, but it is what it is. I haven't been reading on my lunch break the past week because I've just been super busy at work, so I get to my lunch and I'm exhausted and I just want to sit in the car and kind of stare. I am making slow progress through Age of Assassins. I was honestly hoping to be a little bit farther than I am currently, but I'm 200 pages in, so I'm making a dent, and I'm gonna keep reading tonight after my shower. It is like 8 o'clock, I think, right now. I'm gonna get ready for bed. I'm gonna get all nice and warm in bed because it's really cold out right now and I'm loving it. And then I'm just gonna sit and read until I fall asleep. I'm really enjoying it still. I don't think it's gonna be a 5-star, but I do think that there is the chance that it just kind of surprises me in the end and still ends up that way. I don't know how to describe it. The language is a bit odd. It's not like common spoken English, but it's still understandable and it's still easy to get through. I think I'm at the point where I'm kind of just like waiting for something to happen, but as I'm hitting like the halfway point, I feel like it's about to happen. Like stuff is about to go down, and depending on what happens, it might change my mind and I might be really, really into it. There was just a big reveal in the book and I feel like I should have been more shocked by it, but I guess I was kind of expecting it. It didn't like quite get me as much as I wanted to, but I'm still loving it, and I do feel like it is pretty easy to read even with the language being a little bit odd. I started a new audiobook today and I have made a decent chunk through it. So I decided to finally get to The Emperor's Wolves, which is part of my TBR-opoly. So I needed to start reading because I have like 6 books on that list for this month and I've read 1 of them. So The Emperor's Wolves is this story about this, it's kind of complicated. So it's about this young boy who, I don't even know how old he is. Let's say like in his teens somewhere. He is a mortal boy and he was found on the street by this immortal man who was looking to get more people to join the Emperor's Wolves, which is like a faction of this emperor's guard who are just assassins and executioners. And so like there's like 3 sections. There's the Emperor's Wolves, the Emperor's Hawks, and the Emperor's Swords, and they each do something different. And there's magic in the land, but not everyone can control magic or use magic. And it's interesting because like they're humans, which like our main character is human, mortal, he can't control anything. But then there are these like creatures that I feel like are pretty commonly well known amongst people, like dragon shifters. And then there are also creatures that I have never heard of before in my life. So it's taking me a lot of adjusting to like understand what's going on and who's talking and all the different magic and all the different politics. It's a heavily political book. There's a lot of talking and a lot of like investigating, and there's not as much action as I thought there was going to be. It's really interesting, I have to say, the different like species and learning about all these, like how this world works. This author definitely put a lot of thought and a lot of time into this world. There are these beings who are mind readers, and so their entire population is constantly sharing knowledge, sharing information with each other. They're like constantly in communication with each other through their minds, but if they touch anyone else, they can enter into those people's mind, and that is a large part of the story up until now. And there are these other creatures who are immortals, and their eye color changes with their moods, and I don't totally know what else they can do, but I'm about 35% through the audiobook. It's 17 hours, so it's honestly not like that bad, but it'll probably take me 3 to 4 days to get through it. Very confusing, and honestly I'm even having a hard time keeping some of the main characters separate. There's like 3 main men that I when they say their names, I'm not sure who we're talking about. When they start describing them, I know who we're talking about, but it takes me a little bit, and I wish that I wasn't so confused with every aspect of the book, because already the world building is confusing and the politics are confusing, and then I don't need to be confused about who our main character is or who even is talking. So this is like a prequel story, so she does have other books in this world that are about other characters. And it was funny because I looked them up today, and their covers look like really like paranormal, supernatural, fantasy romance books, and I just wasn't ready for that. So I don't know exactly who the target audience of this book is for. So far, I would not call it YA. I would say it's adult, but if there's much smut in it, I guess technically we move it to new adults. I don't know. So we'll see. I don't even know if there's gonna be smut. The covers could be misleading. This cover doesn't look like it's gonna have smut in the book. Tomorrow is Wednesday, so it's family dinner night, and my brother has COVID, so it'll just be me and my parents and my grandma. Thursday, I will be starting this book, which I have talked about a little bit on my channel. I'll talk about it more once I actually get into it and get started with it, but I won't be finishing this book this week, and my main focus is still going to be this. I'm just excited because my book club is going to be reading this, and we haven't read a book together in a little bit because we took the whole month of December off. Guess what? My hold for Nemesis games just came in, and I'm so freaking excited about it. If you want a sneak peek for next week, I'm most likely going to be reading The Two-Faced Queen, Nemesis Games, and Before They Are Hanged. So excited about it. So that bit might have just been a huge lie. I'm not trying to lie to you all. I genuinely thought that I was going to continue on with the Queen's Wolves today. I'm so sorry. There's a giant wasp making a nest right outside my window, and it's kind of interesting to watch, and sometimes I get distracted by it. I genuinely thought I was going to be continuing on with the Queen's Wolves today, but for whatever reason I decided to check on my loan for Before They're Hanged. I think maybe a different loan came out to me. Some reason I went into my, a different loan came out to me. So I went into my library app for the first time in a while, not realizing how long it had been, and Before They're Hanged is due in 7 days. So I was like, oh shit, that's a 23-hour audiobook. I at least need to get started on it and make a chunk through it, because I won't be able to renew it because 6 people are waiting on me. And if I don't listen to it now, it's going to be like 2 months before I get it back again. That was what I listened to today. And I made a good chunk through it, actually. Where am I at? I'm like really close to 30% through the book. I've officially listened to just over 6 hours on ×2 speed, of course. So I have 16.5 hours left. What is that? 8 hours on the speed I'm listening to it. So I think I could finish that up by Saturday and be really happy with it. That's the book I'm currently listening to. And then I'm going to go back to The Emperor's Wolves as soon as I finish that. So that'll be this weekend's book. So I might finish that next week in that vlog, but I've already talked about it in this vlog, so I hate it. I'm also very, very close to finishing Age of Assassins. So I'm going to try and finish it today if possible. It is family dinner night. Happy Wednesday, everyone. But I think I have like 100 pages left. So I actually have an hour exactly until I need to leave to go over there. So I think I'm going to sit and read for as much of that hour as I can, because that will at least, even if I'm like spacing out and zoning out, I will at least get 40 pages read in that hour. That leaves me with 60 pages when I get back. I might have like 110 pages actually. I'm not totally sure, but it's close to that. So I think if I read for an hour now, I might have like an hour and a half when I get home tonight. And usually I get home around 8, so shower and then just read in bed. And worst comes to worst, I can finish it up first thing tomorrow morning. Maybe wake up a little bit early and read before work. I've been known to do that. That's kind of the plan. And then tomorrow I'll just go straight into The Two-Faced Queen. So one thing I want to talk about with Age of Assassins, I wish I had it here with me so I could show you all. There's this really cool thing where every few chapters, basically every single time our character goes to bed, there is an interlude. And every single interlude starts out with, it's something like, this is what he dreamed, or this is what he dreamed of, or this is a memory but it's a dream, something like that. And then it's like a flashback to a part in his life of kind of how he got to where he is currently. And they're the best chapters. They're so good and so interesting, because it's his past and how he became who he was, but it's a little bit steeped in metaphor, and it's really quickly written. They're usually a page to 5 pages, so they're pretty short. But I was looking ahead, I just passed the last interlude, I have 10 chapters left, and I was looking ahead, and instead of having the next one be an interlude, it's called an interruption. And I'm really excited to see what that means, because they've all been connected to him sleeping so far. So maybe an interruption is like he got knocked unconscious or something. I don't know. The book is really good. It's really picking up. I'm thinking it's going to be a 4-star at this point, which I'm heavily enjoying it. There's nothing wrong with a 4-star. It's absolutely slapping, but it's just not that 5-star vibe that I was hoping for. But it's all, again, going to depend on the whodunit, because there is kind of this mystery. I told you guys that the Queen is hiring our assassin, basically, team to figure out who's trying to kill her son, and I still don't know who's trying to kill her son, and I'm curious to know who it is, and I'm pointing some fingers at some different people. But once I find out who done it, because there's also some mysteries with some of the other characters and what they're doing and like why they're acting the way they are, I'm thinking it's gonna be one of those moments where I look back and I'm gonna be like, oh my god, all of these different little clues pieced together to be this big reveal. I'm gonna stop dilly-dallying and I'm gonna go read. So I just finished Age of Assassins. It's late. I'm ready to go to bed, but I'm gonna briefly talk to you all about it with my night hair. This is the perfect time to do this. I just did Qualpile for it, and it came out exactly at a 4-star, like 4.0. There was nothing else after it, which was really funny. I really liked the characters, and I really liked the world that was built here. I feel like the political intrigue, the politics of this world were very realistic and very twisty and very fun. And it wasn't just like one person who done it kind of a thing. It was lots of different people doing lots of different things for their own reasons. and those are all kind of like piled on top of each other. Even though it's a book about assassins and it literally says assassin in the title, I wasn't expecting so many people to get murdered in this book. I don't know why. So I was like pleasantly surprised by how many people died. I was also pleasantly surprised by how funny our main character like genuinely was. I actually found him humorous. I think he was a bit immature, but I also need to recognize that he was quite literally raised outside of society and separate from other human beings. So like he doesn't necessarily know how to act in certain social situations. The romance was bland and kind of boring and really kind of a side thought, and I don't think that it's going to be something that continues on into the rest of our books. So it didn't really do anything for me, and I would recommend it to people. Anyone who is like a big fan of political intrigue but wants to read a lot shorter of a book, because it's only 390 pages and you really do delve deep into the political intrigue, but it is a fast-paced book and it has assassins. It's kind of like a murder mystery, but you haven't had the murder yet. So like the murder mystery is who's going to do the murder. I was surprised. I didn't predict who did the murder. It was one of my theories, but I really hadn't narrowed it down where I was comfortable to say that one of my theories was more right than the others. So it took me for a surprise, and I'm really happy with that. No clue where the next two books are going to go, but I do own them and I will be reading them. I kind of picked this up for fun because I was like, I'm really just in the mood for something different than what I've been reading. It was not planned at all for me to be reading this book right now, and I really kind of enjoyed that a lot, and I need to do that more often. Welcome to Friday. So I have a few updates, but this is going to be my last check-in for this reading vlog because my sister-in-law, whom I don't know if I've mentioned, is pregnant, had to go to the emergency room today. I have not been updated how she's doing. I'm assuming fine, but I'm about to go meet my family and find out all the details. I'm assuming if it was going poorly, they would have just told me that. I think she's doing well, but because of the fact that I don't know what's going on, I'm going to cut the vlog off here, and I'm just going to plan on not vlogging this weekend and kind of taking a break from being on the camera and being on and all of that stuff. But I want to give you guys one last update on what I'm reading. So I made it to 50% through before they're hanged. So I plan on finishing that up either tomorrow or Sunday. Yeah, whatever the day is after tomorrow. I don't exactly know how long it'll take me. It'll kind of depend on my mood tomorrow and how focused I am on reading. I'm really, really enjoying it. I have officially made it to part 2, which I remember last time. Up until part 2, I was very on the fence about like, is this a 4-star? I don't really know. And I'm feeling very much the same way. And as soon as I hit part 2 last time, I was like, damn, this book's a 5-star. So I'm really expecting for the second half of this book to like peak, but I'm also a little bit nervous because I think the second half of this book is going to be heavily focused on battles, because a lot of our characters did just come out of like particular fight scenes. And so now either they're going to be healing from battles or they're going to be going into bigger battles or something like that. And that's just something that doesn't appeal to me. But to be fair, I'm really, really enjoying the book, and a 4-star is not bad. It's going to be rated one or the other. And if you're super curious, you can follow me on Goodreads, or you can friend me. I pretty much accept everyone who looks like they're a real person, or you can wait for my wrap up at the end of the month because I probably won't say anything about it in next week's reading vlog. I then also started The Two-Faced Queen. I'm only 60 pages in, so I'm going to wait and say anything about this book for next week because I'm going to have lots of thoughts. I'm going to actually finish it up next week, and I'm so excited about that. So I will be listening to Nemesis Games, Elantris next week. Those will be my 2 audiobooks, and then I'll be reading The Two-Faced Queen. If I finish it, I think I'm going to pick up an arc. If I don't finish it, I'm on track to finish it Friday if I follow all of the reading plans that I have for myself, so I might not finish it in time for the vlog next week to pick up something else. I officially decided to DNF The Emperor's Wolves. So I got to the point in the book where I felt like I was so lost to anything that was going on, any of the characters, any of the world building, the plot, like everything. I was so lost. And I was like, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm enjoying this book enough, but I'm so confused that I'm not understanding anything that's happening. So I'm going to need to go back a few chapters and I'm going to have to start over, not the whole entire book, but a little bit, and I'm going to have to catch back up. And that did not appeal to me. I did not want to do that thing. I just felt like that sounded gross and awful. And I was like, well, I'm not hating the book, so this is going to be one of the weirdest DNFs of my life, but I'm literally just going to DNF a book because I'm so lost. I DNF'd. I was right around the 40 to 50% mark. I don't exactly know where I was at. Full honesty, I might come back to it one day. I might not. I think that it's a really good book for people who have read the actual series, and I don't think that I'm missing much because I haven't read the series. I think I'm missing it because the book is very much not plot focused, and so there's really not a thing that is happening in this book, and so you're really just there to like find out about these characters and learn about how they became the people who they became in later books. And I don't really care about our main character. I like some of the side characters. I think they're interesting, but they're not given enough attention, so I just don't think it's worth it for me to go back and try to figure out all the things that I'm confused about in order to like stick with this main character who I really can't stand. And it was funny because when I was Googling a character list for this book, because I thought that maybe that would help me understand things a little bit better and then I would be like more into trying to finish this book, one of the reviews online was saying how they didn't understand how anyone could dislike our main character. And I'm like, it's not necessarily that I dislike him, it's that I find him boring and I find him bland, and there's nothing about him that stands out as interesting to me. And I think part of why I feel that way is because he is very goody two shoes, like doing things the right way. And to be fair, the book opens up with him admitting the fact that he has murdered someone. So like we know that he's killed. And once I did find out like why he had killed, I honest to God was like, okay, it was a perfectly fine reason. It felt like the reason that he killed these people was like in a way that we were supposed to forgive him for the killings. And so it felt like it didn't even matter that he had killed because like he wasn't a bad person actually. He was doing a bad thing for good reasons. I just don't like him. Like, why do we have to follow the one human out of the entire realm of all these crazy magical creatures and beings and everything? And it just felt like everyone who did meet him in this world, these immortal beings, these mind readers, these dragonborn, are like obsessed with this human, and I just couldn't quite figure it out. I'm DNFing it. That is the second book for TBRopoly that I have DNF'd this month, but it's fine because I said I at least just needed to start the books in January. I didn't need to finish them. I didn't need to read all of them. It was chill. It was whatever. So Elantris and the Two-Faced Queen are both on TBRopoly, so that's really good. Once I finish those up, there'll be 2 more knocked off the list, and then I have Shadow of Whisper and Flame, or Whisper of Shadow and Flame. I keep getting that title mixed up. The last one is Nemesis Game. Did I say Elantris or did I say Nemesis Games? Anyways, Before Their Hanged is not on that list, but I am reading it for funsies and I'm having a really good time with it. So, but anyways, that's it. That's all of the updates. I will try to let you all know next week what I have found out about my family and what's going on with us. It feels like every other week someone in my family is doing something, is in some type of emergency health situation, and unfortunately it's always different people, but it's just kind of what it is right now, I guess. But otherwise, it's been good talking to you. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you liked this video, please leave me a like. It means the most to me, and I don't remember how my outro goes, but until next time, I'll talk to you in the comments. Bye!